In the state of Connecticut, do you have the right to express milk for your baby at work and to breastfeed your baby in public? And the answer to both questions is yes, you have an almost unfettered right to do both at work and in public. I'm Jack Tuckner, and I'm a women's rights in the workplace lawyer in both Connecticut and New York. And I'm happy to inform you that both states have nursing-friendly laws that both encourage and protect breastfeeding moms from interference with this essential and healthful postpartum activity. The Connecticut law regarding breastfeeding or expressing milk at work requires that all employers in the state provide a reasonable amount of time during the day for you to express milk for your infant baby, and they must figure out some private space for you to do that in. And that private space for the expression of milk can't be a toilet stall. Now, whenever possible, even though you're expressing milk at your sole discretion, it should take place during a lunch break or another work break. And if it doesn't happen during one of those times, your employer is not obligated to pay you during that brief milk expressing break, but hopefully you don't work for an employer that's that mean-spirited and stingy. A Connecticut employer is not permitted to discriminate against, treat differently, or take any adverse employment action against any woman returning from maternity leave who chooses to exercise her right to express milk in the workplace. And that's any business in Connecticut with one or more employee, all businesses. And they must make reasonable efforts to create this private space for you to express milk in and to allow you to do so. And if they don't, or need to argue that they can't or shouldn't, they're going to have to demonstrate that providing you with this private, clean space to express milk would be an undue hardship on the business, taking into account the expense, the cost, other factors such as the size of the company, its resources, its structure, the nature of the business, etc. But showing undue hardship that a company cannot comply with the law is no small task, and it's very difficult to meet those standards. So it almost never happens. You're entitled to express milk in a private space in your Connecticut company. And what about when you're not at work or at home? Can you safely breastfeed in public in Connecticut? And the answer is yes, because there's another Connecticut law that addresses breastfeeding or expressing milk in places of public accommodation. And public accommodation in Connecticut is essentially anywhere that isn't someone else's private property. And Connecticut has yet another sweet statute unique to the nutmeg state. This law, ominously entitled Offenses Against the Individual, Deprivation of One's Right to Breastfeed One's Baby, prevents any other person, any individual's attempt to limit or restrict a mother's breastfeeding her child in public or expressing milk. So that person screaming at you in the park to feed your baby in private is breaking the law. You could continue breastfeeding your baby and call the police on this lawbreaker. Breastfeeding in Connecticut and looking to avoid jury duty, Connecticut hears and feels you, and they're all over it. There's another statute that permits you to postpone jury duty for up to a year if you're a breastfeeding mother, or even if you simply have to express milk on a daily basis, you can postpone that jury service for up to 1 year. It's fully accepted among health professionals that breast milk helps infant health, in that breast milk contains antibodies that protect infants against viruses and bacteria, so breastfed babies have less respiratory tract infections and urinary tract infections. And breastfeeding and lactation also helps moms too, including a quicker return to pre-pregnancy weight and a reduced risk of premenopausal breast cancer. And don't forget the mom-baby bonding time thing too. So as important as breastfeeding and expressing milk is to you and your baby's health, it's great to know that there aren't many places in Connecticut where you can't do both. Unless you're trespassing, where you, your baby, and your breast milk don't belong, you're entitled to express or breastfeed your baby at your sole discretion as frequently as possible, wherever you want. Your body, your baby, your call. Interference with your right to express milk at work is sex and pregnancy discrimination. It's against the law. If you or a loved one are experiencing discrimination or a hostile treatment in the workplace due to pregnancy or a related issue, feel free to contact us at Tuckner Sipser by phone or email, and we'll consult with you in total confidence and free of charge. We'll stand with you when you're ready to step up and fight for your right to be equal.